All right, so first of all, I want to get Dale. Would you come up here and talk to us just a little bit?
All right.
Don't bend over and let him see you.
Number one, everybody's asking, Alabama and all that, you're really living in a barn? No, but by next year with another collection like I've gotten, I'll be able to afford to move into it. 31 years ago, who would have ever thought that G.I. Ringer would have us all under his tutelage? All right. Yeah, Dana did. Yeah. I look around the room, I get two quick, kind of flashback things here. One is how lucky you gentlemen have been to marry up so well. And number two is how low you women set your standards. She was bottom fishing when she found me. Anyway, setting all this up, I kind of had an idea, and I checked with a couple people, and I checked with Donnie, and he said, yeah, I think about it a little bit, and then he proved what a used car salesman is. Talked to him a little more about it, and he said, yeah, that's a great idea. And that's where he bent me right over the hood of that Ford. He said, why don't you take it and run with it? But I wasn't smart enough to run fast enough. So we took on a project, and I immediately found out that I was well in over my head on this project. So I sent out a call for help, and Billy Miles answered the call. And Billy Miles took my small idea, and he expanded it into something that is probably more on the presidential level of quality and thought than what I had to come up with. And so when you do see this project, I want you to don't think of me, think of Billy Miles. So, and that'll become obvious in a little bit. The idea was 15 years ago I retired, and they had a nice ceremony, and it was pretty damn neat. And it was kind of a marker in your life. And a lot of y'all have already done that. And we've got a few that haven't, and I wanted to do something special for somebody that I kind of wanted to be there, but I figured, number one, I probably wouldn't get a gold-plated invite. If I did, I would be so far back in the stands I couldn't even see the bleachers, So I said, why don't we do something for Duncan while we're all gathered up? So that's what we've done. And Duncan, if I could have you come forward.
Yeah.
Right here, we'll be right back with you.
Speech.
And you said this was a good idea.
We got him for his local.
Are these all the pictures that you can't show?
Go ahead.
All right. Yes, to kind of honor Duncan, 37 years, is that how long it's been? He's gone a little farther than I thought he might. But I think he's been an asset to our nation. He's certainly been an inspiration to our class. And he's that one guy, when you say, I know somebody that made general that isn't one of them. He's a real one of us, and to this day he still is. So, Duncan, if you would just grab this one down, just take it right down off, drop it on the floor. We'd like to present this to Duncan. It says Duncan lifts McNabb. I fly jets. How am I doing so far? UPT class 8005. And Billy Miles did this beautiful picture of
Nice, Billy.
41.
Great work.
Did these patches. Everybody signed it? And as we know, this was not a single one-man show. Duncan had a little help in this endeavor. So if Linda... Is that a short joke? Duncan, why don't you say a few words about your helper here?
She needs a shot.
All right, Linda.
No, thank you. This was for what? No, thank you.
Well,
Honey, would you like to say something?
to represent the two of us, I will reluctantly.
Now, how long should I give you?
Give him the signal.
Okay, sorry.
He was old when we were in UPT.
He hasn't changed a bit.
He hasn't changed a bit.
Dale and Billy, and to all of you, this is certainly not something I was expecting tonight. When I think back, one of the really, really amazing things that you get to do in our military is you get to work with some great, wonderful Americans. And surrounded by spouses, they're ladies for us, since we didn't have any females in our pilot training class. In this case, it was all wives. And girlfriends that became wives, or girlfriends that stayed girlfriends for a long time. And I would just say that this group, it's amazing when I think back, and one of the things that when I think back on my life, one of the things that I always think of is when I think about 8005, and I think about us getting everybody through but one. In a time when most of the folks were washing out 10 to 15, in some cases 20%. And the way everybody took care of each other. The way that we had so much fun while we did it. The way that we did things. And then we have folks like Don and Mel. As the Davies take this on. The fact that everybody came here. You think about, out of 30 graduates, 3 didn't come. And one, obviously, Donnie Williams, and as we think about him, but you think about how amazing that is. And obviously with the Hydes, and I think really only one, I know they would have made it if they could have. And so you end up with really one that might have been able to make it and did not. With all the spouses, with all the families, which means that you enjoy this and getting us together. And I know it is amazing that all it takes is a ping pong ball and a when Dale talked about the low standards, and I'll tell you what, for the wives, I'll tell you what, you all will put up with a lot. And I'll give you a ping pong ball, and you'll go to town. But it really does say a lot, and it's kind of what you find in the military is it is a family, and it is about doing something that's very important to the nation, and you all know that, and it's this defense of freedom. Especially as we about to hit 9/11 tomorrow, and you think about what this means, and what it meant to serve. And I always tell folks, that I love what I get to do, but just as importantly, I love who I get to do it with. And when you think about being entrusted by the American people with their most precious and fundamental right, which is their freedom, the part that they don't tell you is you get to work alongside some of the greatest sons and daughters that our country that represents this country in such a tremendous way. And so that's the part that always hits me. And whenever we get down, and the fact that you all took the time to do this when you got so many other things to do, and I really am we retired about 5 weeks. Linda has been ready to retire for about 30 years.
Oh, come on.
But it is a time that sometimes we take for granted what we have been allowed to do. And that special, you know, being allowed to learn how to fly and then do this for this country. This great country where this truly is the beacon of freedom. This really is, you know, this battle that we're in right now, as you think about 9/11, this really is our time. And this really is a battle about the future of mankind. It's not the first time this world has had to have that kind of battle, but that's what this is about. And you know, it does strike me that, and as I mentioned earlier, when you sit there and think about 9/11, and I tell folks that on 2 May, when they got Osama bin Laden, I think everybody remembers where they were when 9/11 happened. Everybody remembers that. And I was in the Pentagon, and I remember, you know, who I was with when they first told me the first Twin Towers hit, the second Twin Towers hit, coming out of the building, finding out that all of our people were okay, being told, you know, you need to get out of the parking lot because another airplane's coming in, which is the one that went in Pennsylvania. And then about the time that I've made sure that everybody's okay, made my first call to Linda and said, you know, please let everybody know that everybody, that, you know, we're very lucky we didn't lose anybody. And about the time they said, you know, move to the other side of the highway, F-16 came overhead. You know, you remember it like it's yesterday. And then I remembered about that time getting pissed. And I was not as pissed, obviously angry about the Pentagon, because at least that was a military target. But the Twin Towers was the wanton killing of innocent men, women, and children that I, like everybody in this room, had sworn to protect. And you knew that day if they could have killed 30,000 instead of 3,000 or 300,000 or 3 million, they'd have done it, and they would do that today. And that's what this country has now figured out, is how do you go about this? And as we look to the country and said, who shall we send? Who will go for us? Just like you all did back very early when I got to see you as young second lieutenants. You raised your hand for freedom and you said, here I am, send me. It's really awesome and very, very noble. And the bigger part of that is these loved ones that allow you to serve. These loved ones that sit here with their own sacrifice and have done so much. And there's lots of places that you can do things for your country and serve in so many ways, and in all the professions we have, but this is one of those. And I was talking about bin Laden, and one of the things that always makes me, when they got him, one of the things that the best statements that was said was by a sister of one of the victims from the Twin Towers. And she said, he said, well, what do you think? How do you feel? And she said, I take great comfort in that the very last thing that Osama bin Laden thought about was the Americans have come. And I do really like that we have a military that if somebody kills our people or puts our freedom at risk, we will come and we will change their world. And that same capability allows us to show great friendship and the compassion of American people to other folks, to folks that are the victims of tsunamis or earthquakes, floods, and we're able to do that. But at the end of this, I really do like the fact that they know that we will come. And that's what this is about. It is taking care of friends and allies in the world. It is protecting that beacon of freedom, that because of what you all do and did, and what folks in generations that have now taken that on that mantle, that the beacon of freedom will continue to shine as it has for generations before and will for generations to come. And I will tell you, and I think about this, and I think about this is what makes it worth it. This is what allows us to do it and go through the sacrifice, because the sacrifices are very large. And again, it is a lot easier to put yourself in harm's way than it is the loved ones in harm's way. So if I looked at all of the spouses and all of the loved ones that allow you to serve, that is even a bigger sacrifice. So thank you for this.
to propose a toast. We sleep safe in our bed because hard men stand ready to do great violence to those that would harm us. General McNabb, our brothers and sisters in uniform.
Here, here. I would like to propose a toast again to Don and Melanie, because if they didn't do this, we would not be standing here today.
I'd like to propose a toast to the little ping pong ball.
Smelling my breath like it did. To the ping pong ball.
To the ping pong ball.
Gary Hale. It's your floor. Please, sit down.